Greetings, folks, and welcome to today's show. The season is upon us for the legislature to start thinking about cranking up again, and I think that's scheduled to be on the 14th, if I remember right. We usually have Representative Judd Matheny on the show to give us a little insight into what we're going to be doing, what they're going to be doing over the next few months. So we're at it again. Judd, thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here. Thank you, sir, very much.
Okay, and you had an interesting article in the paper 2 or 3 weeks ago about trying to get a bilateral meeting going with the federal, our federal representatives, senators and representatives, and the state. State, I guess, at the level, was it involving the whole legislature?
Yes, sir. What my intent is, and some quick background, there's a huge movement across the country to have a constitutional convention, Article 5 constitutional convention, and that's an unproven way of potentially managing our Constitution, and I'm a little bit worried that that's an extreme way to amend our Constitution, that we need to do it through the normal legislative process, if at all possible. So an idea I floated out there, and I've done it nationally, and it's picking up some national attention. And I thought we were going to get it launched immediately in Tennessee, but it's hitting a few rocky spots. But the bottom line is, it's our state's first ever in 226 years meeting of our federal legislative members, our 9 congressmen and our 2 senators, and our state legislature in an official business meeting. And I've been criticized by a lot of my own colleagues for trying to put this together, that by saying that we don't have a right to tell the federal government what to do or what have you. And I disagree.
Hogwash.
It is hogwash because we're one of the few donor states left in the country. We give money to the federal government. We should be able to talk to them about what they do. And about 60% of our budget is directly or indirectly tied to federal money and federal rules and regulations tied to that money. So we have every right in the world to talk to our federal legislators. But the bottom line is that,
well, I mean, they don't own the country, you know.
Well, that's right. But our federal legislators, and in particular, our U.S. Senator Lamar Alexander refused to participate, and that's caused a lot of my colleagues on the state level to not want to participate.
Okay.
So it's been pretty sad, but we're going to get it fixed, and we'll get it done anyway.
Better luck after the election. Maybe.
That's right.
Okay, well, with that, let's take a short commercial break, and we'll come back and talk some more, folks.
The highest standard of trust offers a sense of safety and comfort. It's established over time. You know when you see it. You know when you feel it. There's a standard of trust in healthcare. It's the Joint Commission Gold Seal of Approval. In 2003, Life Care Center of Tullahoma voluntarily achieved this accreditation and maintains it still today. Life Care, meeting a higher standard because residents matter most.
Welcome to Merle Norman, located inside Northgate Mall in Tullahoma. Since 1931, Merle Norman Cosmetics have been researched, developed, manufactured, and packaged in the USA, using the highest quality ingredients and unmatched customer service to help women look and feel better about themselves.
Hi there, I'm Christy Elmacher, owner of Merle Norman. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about Merle Norman products. We have a large line of skincare and cosmetics for all skin types. Merle Norman's motto is try before you buy, so we'd love for you to come in, talk to us about your concerns, try the products, and we want you to feel good when you leave here, so we hope to see you soon.
Want to feel good in your skin? Visit Merle Norman in Northgate Mall, Tullahoma.
Let the Smokehouse be your mountain getaway destination in beautiful Monteagle, Tennessee. Enjoy our cabins, restaurant, and old general store. Shop thesmokehouse.com featuring homemade barbecue sauces, jellies, and many other fine Tennessee products. Our live Music on the Mountain series features some of the best local and Nashville talent every Friday and Saturday night, 6:30 p.m. No cover, kids welcome.
We're talking today, folks, with Representative Judd Matheny, and we want to find out a little bit what the legislature might be up to in the session that's about to start. Judd, there's a couple of things here I'd like to just sort of hit briefly and then move on. I hope we can spend most of our time on education.
Okay.
But there was a blurb about the fact that unfunded pensions, we're pretty well funded, but it came out that we're 95% funded, and that other 5% is worth about $5 billion or so, which sounds like a problem, but on the hand, so put that in perspective.
Well, if you put it into perspective, nationwide, we're in very good shape. We're in the top 5 states with regards to our pension program being fully funded. We fluctuate between 95 and 97%. Historically, we've been at about 97. Some of the stock market problems and the economic problems we've had over the past 5 years have brought us down to about 95%. And as you said, that's about a $5 billion gap. Now you compare us to states like Indiana, Illinois, California, some of them are less than 40% funded. It's almost unrecoverable for them to be able to pay the pensions that they promised. As a result of our $5 billion gap, we passed a new law last year that requires each employee to pay a little bit more. Every new state hire as of July 1st, 2014 will pay a little bit more into the system in order to have a guaranteed benefit 30 years down the road. And that will close that gap over time. So we're being proactive, and we're going to try to fix it. And we are the lowest per capita debt state in the union. We have a lot to be proud of, and I believe pensioners in the state of Tennessee have a bright future in front of them.
What do you, you don't necessarily know this, but generally what sort of shape are we in at the county city level?
Generally, it's sort of a patchwork. There's none that I know of, with the exception maybe of some folks in Shelby County that might have some pretty big arrears in their pension programs, and I don't know the numbers exactly. But most of our cities and counties are in pretty good shape. There are some deficits out there, and those deficits, as of 2015, the federal government's going to start requiring that any deficit in the pension system also be put on the balance sheet every year of a city, county, or state's budget. So you will see cities and counties that look very healthy now, or relatively healthy, perhaps look less healthy in the future when they have to put that additional unfunded liability on their balance sheet.
On the balance sheet, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, we've had a flap going on with respect to an outfit that we hired to review all of the state's space problems, real estate problems around the countryside, and make recommendations on what to do about that, and they've been very active. The only rub is that they started off with about $1 million contract, and it's now up to somewhere around 38 or higher. And the auditor was very critical of that program, and I must admit, I think it smells. But you got a comment on that?
Well, our state comptroller is as honest as they come. Justin Wilson, I believe everybody can have faith and confidence in him, and when he issues an audit, he does his homework. And I believe there is something there that whether it's actual impropriety or whether it's just something that shouldn't have been done for ethical reasons. When I say actual impropriety, I mean illegality. Yeah. I don't know any of that kind of thing. I don't know exactly what amounts we're talking about. We do have a couple of committees in the House and the Senate both that are looking into the issue, and I believe it's the State Building Commission that is going to take over the duties that had once been reserved for the executive's offices to be able to do that. And the State Building Commission is set up to deal with these types of contracts in transparency and in stated meetings.
Well, it's somebody needs to do it. I say, I'm very surprised because the governor and his commissioner that handles it, both of them just sort of blew the audit away, didn't pay any attention to it. And that doesn't speak very well for the governor, since the Haslam family has already got one major controversy going on. But we won't talk about that.
We'll see what happens.
Let's vocational ed, which they may have a new term for it now, but we had a little flurry of interest and activity a year or so ago because we were not training people to the technical level required for the jobs that are coming up. We got jobs that they can't fill.
Yes, sir.
And that, of course, is a money problem, always is, but is anything going on there? We're not funding the vocational, what do we call them, the regional schools.
Technology centers.
Technology centers, right.
The technology centers, I believe, are starting to catch up with the times as far as equipment and curriculum. But what we've seen is traditionally in our high schools, not everybody's geared to go to college. We've always said that, and we've tried to amplify that. I think the state for about a decade ignored those warnings and went straight for the 2-year and 4-year degree only. And now we've seen that it still seems to be true what we initially thought. So there is a resurgence on the technology centers, and also getting back to the juniors and seniors in high school to do two things. Number one, prepare them for an actual skill. So when they are 18, if they choose to enter the workforce directly, they have more skills that are needed out here. And also the dual enrollment, not only for math and science, but also for manufacturing and technological issues. So we're seeing schools like Central High School in Manchester, for example, is actively involved in pursuing a mechatronics type program like Motlow College is working on. And I know there's been a lot of discussions between Motlow and Coffee County Central High School and the Manchester Chamber of Commerce and also the Manchester Industrial Board. They have a consortium that's been put together, and they're raising money for things such as 3D printers, mechatronics equipment to put actually in the schools themselves. And I do know they have an operational 3D printer in Central High School that I visited not too long ago, and it's pretty amazing. The printer is actually making itself. And so not only the kids can get in there.
The printer's making another printer.
The printer's making another printer, yes. And it's truly, anybody that's watched the Terminator series of movies knows that we were told about this 30 years ago, and sure enough, I'm watching a machine make itself, and it's pretty incredible. It's a real paradigm shift from the type of education that I received.
Well, the Coffee County thing you mentioned, it sounds like that they've got some outside groups that are funding that.
Manchester is a thriving industrial town, and we're starting to land even some bigger industrial fish there.
Yeah.
And I know we just landed a Great Lakes cheese out of Wisconsin's coming in, and bringing about 250 jobs with them. And these are they're processing cheese, but these are very high-tech jobs. They need these graduates of this mechatronics program that can walk into these $50 million machines and can not only operate them, but can also troubleshoot them, can program them, can do any number of things to
maintain
them.
them.
Makes them a very valuable employee.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, at the looking at the tech centers and anything else that comes along, are we going to have we're going to put adequate money in that
yes, sir.
pot?
It will never be enough, probably. If you look at all the needs out there, we're never going to be able to meet all of them. But I think from a regional level, we're doing a pretty good job at trying to meet those needs. At least from my perspective, between Shelbyville and McMinnville, I think we're filling the void that we need to fill for the manufacturing jobs in our region. And if there's one of our 26, soon to be 27 technology centers, as you know, Nissan's building one associated with its electric car plant and battery plant, so we'll soon have 27 technology centers online, and each one is designed to have enough inside mobility that they can adapt to their regional economy. And if one falls behind the curve, then I think the entire General Assembly is going to try to prop it back up to keep them all at a certain bar.
Yeah,
and,
okay. All right. Well, let's get to the subject of education in general. We got lots of activity. We got lots of, I was kind of surprised at the extent of lobbying we've got going on in the state.
It's incredible.
Buku money.
Yes, sir.
And lots of lobbyists that are ganging up on you. And so charters and vouchers and Common Core and all that stuff, how do you see that shaping up?
Well, if I have to pull my crystal ball out, and sometimes it's inaccurate, but I think our charter authorizing bill is going to pass. That is basically a bill that's going to allow the state of Tennessee to have an appeals process in place in case a local education agency does not approve a charter school, that there will be an appeals process in place. And that's the Speaker Harwell's bill, and I believe it's going to pass. I think the voucher bill, which some people call them opportunities.
When you say a review and maybe overturn it,
perhaps it could have the power to overturn. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. And really that's been put in place due to some alleged abuses that have come out of the Davidson County system, just Davidson County not approving any at all and using very superfluous reasons for not doing it. So that is created.
They don't want them.
They don't want them, yes, sir. And then I know we have to take a break here in a minute, but we can get back. We can get into the vouchers if you'd like to. We have Common Core issues we need to talk about and the adoption of that, and then also some textbook issues, textbook review, and things like that.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll do that. And meanwhile, let's take another short commercial break, folks, and we'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please, for the following public service announcement. He's back! The Watkins Man is back, bringing his world-famous Watkins products to 104 East Lauderdale Street in Tullahoma, where Richard and Stephanie Carpenter have opened the area's only Watkins store. Since 1886, Watkins has produced all-natural products, starting with the pain liniment and now including soaps, oils, creams, scrubs, royal jelly, beeswax, supplements dedicated to natural health and pain management, cover total external and internal body care. And don't forget the world-famous spices, extracts, teas, and cooking ingredients. With too many products to list, know that all Watkins products are 100% natural using the highest quality ingredients obtainable. Always remember with Watkins, when you buy the best, you use less.
A salute to the never wasters, the coupon clippers, switch flippers, one last drop of milk drippers, the thoughtfully thrifty, and the just plain cheap. Charter respects your economic IQ and honors it with a phone service worthy of your ever-watchful wallet. Charter Phone, just $19.99 a month. For real monthly savings for fabulously frugal folks like you. Switch to Charter Phone and get unlimited local and long distance and 13 calling features with no extra fees like the phone company charges you.
I'm meteorologist Leland Statham from the News Channel 5 Weather Center. Look to Jim Fuller and crew for local news night here on Channel 6.
We're talking today, folks, with Representative Judd Matheny, and we want to find out a little bit more about what's going on in the legislature next session. And we're on the subject of education, and there's a lot of things going on there. And a lot of lobbyists, amazing number of lobbyists in the state that are trying to influence the situation. So, Judd, we got vouchers, we got Common Core. You mentioned a textbook.
Textbook issue.
What's going on?
Well, I'll start with vouchers, and those in favor of them call them opportunity scholarships, and other people call them the death of public education, and we're just trying to find out exactly what they are. But in my mind, the way I understand it, exactly what a voucher is a student would be able to take the amount of money that the state normally pays on a per pupil average, and let that money be portable with the student, whether it be to another public school somewhere else in town, or to a private school, or to a private charter school, that money would be portable. And it would put true competition within the education system. Now, there's one school of people that would like to do that statewide, immediately eligible for all children. And then there's another school that would like to just do it in the inner cities of Memphis, Nashville, perhaps Chattanooga, and maybe Jackson and Bristol, some of our bigger districts.
Which side of that is Judd on?
Judd's on doing it fair for everybody across the board. If we're going to do it for one, let's do it for the other. And there's no reason why a child in Memphis should be able to have portability, mobility, and education, and a child in Tullahoma can't do it. And
that says if we're going to do it.
If we're going to do it, that's correct.
Yeah.
And what I still don't know yet is, and I've not seen any hard figures, what will it, and I want to be conscious of this. I think it's good to have education, or to have competition in the system. Whenever you have good alternatives, you have better systems. What I don't want to see happen, though, is for existing building programs we have to go bankrupt, or existing facilities that we have to not be able to be filled due to this law. So I want to make sure that that's not going to happen, and I'm waiting some data on that. That's one of the big things that I want to make sure of.
But you think that's got a chance of passing?
Absolutely. In fact, the
vouchers.
Yes, the first part I told you about would have already passed. Basically the pilot project. It would have started with 5,000 students this year. We'd already been in the process of it. It would have migrated up to 20, but it would have been 20,000 students over 5 years. But it would have been just in the big 5 school districts that we talked about. The state senate. And that was the governor's proposal. The state senate actually got enough lift under the proposal to do it statewide that the governor pulled his proposal last year and nothing happened. So I expect a reemergence of the voucher system. And to
which side is the governor going to be on this year?
He'll probably still be on the pilot project side, and he may not want to step fully out there if he doesn't think he can get the votes to get that.
Well, it might be worth trying it, before we cover the whole state with it.
Possibly a good point. Absolutely. The Common Core issue is basically the U.S. Governors Association has asked for, and apparently they've received a curriculum that is almost universal around the country. And it's not such a bad thing. I've immersed myself and accepted many invitations from various teachers and schools to come in and help teach some classes based on the Common Core curriculum. I like the way, and many of our schools have already adopted Common Core curriculum, Common Core textbooks. I like the way the teaching method, the way problems are taught and problem solving is taught. I think it's pretty strong. But what I don't like is getting in bed with the federal government on another major program. To have a bankrupt entity, which is our federal government, whether we like it or not, they're functionally bankrupt, but they just don't know it yet. And for them to tell us, embrace your curriculum for your K through 12 schools with us, eventually that means with our money. And if I had more faith and confidence in the federal government being able to do what it has said it would do historically, then I wouldn't have so much problem entering into an agreement with the federal government on our curriculum, and therefore 20% of our budget, which is federal money. I'm a firm believer that if we go the route we've gone in transportation, environment, health care, and other issues, that 10 or 12 years from now, the federal government will attempt to make teachers federal employees.
I didn't see that as being a federal control problem. Maybe I missed it, but as I understood it, it was setting for math and reading, as I recall, those two, they were setting a standard curriculum that and tests to go along with it that would apply across the board, so we could see what each other are doing and how we stack up against.
But what many of us fear is that we will lose the pride of authorship to be able to change our curriculum in the future by getting in bed with the federal government on a universal curriculum. And
why do you have to be getting in bed with them?
Four states
we can do Common Core on our own, can't we?
Thank you very much. That is the argument. Why adopt their standards and say we'll stick 100% to these when we can adopt standards that mimic theirs and ride tandem with them? 4 states have already chosen to do that. And Tennessee has not had a vote on it.
Okay.
It was an executive decision to adopt Common Core.
Well, you're just saying we don't want to lose the ability to change ours
in the
2
future.
or 3 years
exactly
if we
right.
need to.
And I just want to make sure, that the role of your state legislator is slipping into ignominy. It really is. And as the more powerful the federal government is, the less power your state legislature has and the less everyday control you have on your life.
Yep.
And the more programs we give to the federal government, the more this is going to affect us in our day-to-day lives. And I'm not just speaking about today. I'm speaking about 20 years from now, when my kids are adults and they're trying to exercise their individual liberties and freedoms and they can't do anything outside the Beltway of Washington down here in Tullahoma. That's where we're going to be headed if we're not careful.
Okay. Well, that's a whole nother political issue.
It is. We got textbooks now. You may just migrate to textbooks.
How do you think things are going with respect to a couple of the key programs that have had a lot of attention? That is teacher evaluations, tying pay to the results that are coming out of the classroom.
What I have seen from the teaching community is they have jumped in and fought, and they're making it work. And they're doing a good job at it. And I have seen that in the classroom. I've seen that from the evaluations. I've seen that from the mentality of the teachers. They are not whining. They're not crying. They're not fighting about it. They realize that it's law, and they're making it work. And where it is absolutely not working, the legislature is listening and willing to make changes. And we are having some dramatic improvement in test scores. We still have an esprit de corps problem within many of the teaching circles, where teachers are very exasperated due to the huge evaluation program, and I understand that fully.
In some circles, they say we got a serious morale problem.
That's exactly right, and I fully realize that. And there's a lot of bridges being built to heal that, and they've come from both the teaching community, they've come from the legislature community going across. The Tennessee Education Association, which has typically been at complete loggerheads with the Republican Party, I think that relationship is thawing considerably. They've got a new executive director. To give you an example, for the first 10 years that I was in the legislature, the head lobbyist for the Tennessee Education Association never came to see me one time. The new gentleman that they have, we've worked hand in hand on many, many projects already in the last year and a half. And by us understanding each other better, I'm seeing it thaw quite a bit. There's still improvements that need to be made in the evaluation system, there's no doubt. There are individual disciplines that need to be exempted from the current evaluation system, and these are just issues that we're going to have to tackle one at a time, but we are listening and working towards it.
Okay. Sometime back, and you not necessarily involved in this, the School Board Association of School Boards got, and our own Tullahoma leader was in the forefront of this, we're fussing at the state
Yes, sir.
commissioner for imposing new programs and putting so many different things in place that they never had a chance to digest any of it, you know, that was really
and I'm very familiar with Dr. Lawson's efforts, and I think absolutely they're warranted, because so many programs come in, it's such a staccato, has created a lot of whiplash within the system, and some of the basics are being overlooked in the classroom, or at least the teachers feel like some of the basics that they have to be able to really instill in children are not having time to adequately be covered. The teachers can feel some students moving on before they're ready in some areas, but the stats and the tests say they're ready, and it's just too much coming too fast, and there's not been a listening ear well enough from Nashville to the superintendents.
And with that, we've run out of time.
Okay.
We got to take a short commercial break, folks, and wrap up.
Imagine a world with more birthdays. We strive for it every day. We fight to get people the best access to care and the chance for more parties to plan. We're the American Cancer Society. Help create a world with more birthdays at morebirthdays.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
We've been talking today, folks, with Representative Judd Matheny, and we've had a very quick review of what's coming up in the legislature. Judd, is there something you'd like to say direct to the folks?
Well, I appreciate you allowing me to go to Nashville and represent you for my 12th year now, my tail end of my 6th term. And I look forward to a wonderful session. We go in January 14th. We're anticipated to be done between April 1st and April 15th. And the issues that we talked about today will be our major ones. And there's always something that comes out of left field, though, that surprises everybody. And we'll see what that is.
Yeah, you're looking at 3 months?
3 months
roughly?
Maximum. We're going to try to get out in 10 weeks, but it's going to be hard to get out April 1st because we've got to wait on our March revenue numbers to come in to ratify our final budget. So as soon as they come in, then we...
I was going to say, are you going to have time for your budget exercise? Well,
I think so.
Thanks, Judd, for joining us,
Thank you.
Thank you, folks, for inviting us into your parlor, and we'll see you next time.